How's it going, guys? It's Kass. As always, if you've been enjoying my content, then feel free to subscribe. We got some interesting developments in the last post about Demon Hunter legendaries, specifically with Havoc legendaries. And while it's good that they are trying to fix the problems they already caused, I feel like they really haven't even started to even ask anyone or think about what changes need to be made to make the class actually better. And it's extremely unfortunate because this is the time that they tried to allot to make the game better. However, they aren't really moving into a situation where it makes sense. With that being said, we're going to look at the two new legendaries. So the first legendary that they brought in is Burning Wound. What it does is Demon's Bite leaves an open wound on your target, dealing 5% attack power as chaos damage over 15 seconds, increasing the damage taken by your immolation aura by 50%. And now, while the last part of it is not that bad, the first part of it doesn't really make any sense. We don't want to be pressing Demon's Bite very much at all, and we don't want to be pressing Demon's Bite on multiple targets to continue to keep a buff up. Demon's Bite is something we would like to not press at all if given the chance to. It's just a generator, but we have other ways to generate abilities with Burning Hate or with Burning Fury, Burning Hatred with Immolation Aura, and potentially with Demonic Appetite if you're playing Demonic Appetite. The likelihood that we want to be pressing Demon's Bite consistently to keep this dot up actually isn't there. We don't want to be doing that. So the first part of this legendary isn't something that we would want to be doing. And the worst part about it is the damage that we get from this is ridiculously low and basically meaningless. This actually should just say Demon's Bite does 10% more damage, and it would be better because you could do 10% more damage multiple times. Whereas in this, it's 10% more damage on Demon's Bite every 15 seconds. And Demon's Bite isn't even that much of a damage source anyway, maybe like 5 to like 7% depending on the haste that you have in the expansion of total DPS. So 10% of that is 0.7% of total DPS. And that's if it was a flat 10%, but this isn't even a flat 10%. This is a 10% increase over 5 seconds. But if you press it multiple times, it gets worse. So that's something to think about with this. Then on top of that, Immolation Aura has just a very bad design from the get-go for Havoc. Havoc scales off of Mastery and Chaos damage with Mastery specifically. Immolation Aura is a fire spell, so there's no overlap between Immolation Aura and Havoc. Really, it's just another ability that does damage, but we can't amplify that damage at all. The only good part about Immolation Aura is that it scales with haste, so the cooldown's lower. But then we also have to think about what it's replacing, right? And what it's replacing is Inner Demons, which I've already made a video talking about how bad that legendary is. And when I first saw it was getting replaced, I was extremely happy. And then I realized what they were replacing it with actually isn't even better than what it was before. So for those of you that don't know, Inner Demons made it so your Chaos Strike had a chance to proc an Inner Demon that would crash into the ground in front of you, do damage to everyone in that area, and do 136.5% attack power. Every minute it would happen 1.5 times plus your haste. So if we just take off the haste accountability, that's what I've done, and we've looked at the numbers just based theoretically off of what we've seen. So when we look at paint here, the first line here is calculating the legendary value. So 5% attack power is the dot that we get from Demon's Bite. And then this section here is calculating half, so that's the 0.5 of Immolation Aura, the base attack power of Immolation Aura. So when we look at that, the actual damage effectiveness of this legendary in a 15-second window where you press Immolation Aura once is 48.8% attack power. That's the equivalent of like basically like slightly more than one extra Demon's Bite. That's like half of a Chaos Strike in damage effectiveness over 15 seconds. And if we think about it, right? Let's say we have pretty good haste and our cooldown on Immolation Aura is, instead of being 30 seconds, which it is baseline, gets all the way down to 20 seconds. Even in that situation, our damage per minute in attack power, just straight percent attack power, is 400 or 146.4% attack power per minute. In your demons, if we just look at what it tells us, if we just don't even account the haste portion, which is significant, and we just go with the base set proc rate of 1.5, we have 1.5 times 136.5 in chaos damage. So it's actually more than this. It's based on your mastery more than this. And it's already significantly more. 60% more, well, 60% extra. So like around 30-ish% more than, or no, around like 40 to 45% more of just straight damage from inner demons when it procs. Now, obviously, the major problems with inner demons wasn't just the damage the damage effectiveness that it had. It was also the fact that it was random. And with this legendary not being random, that's a good step. But the damage effectiveness from this legendary is not worth losing out on the randomness. It's just terrible. Still, the damage that you get from it is awful. And since Immolation Aura is fire damage, it's literally doesn't scale with anything on Demon Hunter. The only reason why we're pressing Immolation Aura is because it gives us some form of generation, and it gives us a decent amount of AoE over a time period, so it's just free damage after we press that button. It just is incredibly frustrating to see people putting their time and effort into changes that just don't make sense. And that's the most annoying part about stuff like this. Then we look at the next legendary that we have. Darker Nature. Killing an enemy with I-Beam has a 25% chance to convert their soul into a demon soul fragment. This is also terrible. You never want to be pressing I-Beam at the end of a pack. When you're pressing I-Beam consistently off cooldown, you're playing a demonic build. This makes no sense. Why would you ever want to be pressing I-Beam when it kills things and then lose out on all of the extra damage effectiveness of demonic, and lose out on, even if you're not playing demonic, lose out on Furious Gaze, which is now baked into I-Beam, but we're losing out on a percent of Furious Gaze. The only time that this legendary is good is in Mythic Plus, when you're killing packs that have elites and non-elites mixed in. And even in those situations, the likelihood that you get a proc from a big pack is still fairly small. 25% chance is 1 in 4, and the likelihood that you have a pack of like more than 10 mobs, that you're killing half of those mobs in the window of your I-Beam, is even less. And that's why this legendary sucks. And the biggest thing is Demon Hunters need better single target. Our DPS in AoE situations is very good. The talents that we have are mostly for AoE situations, except for obviously First Blood. But when you look at the best possible talent that we have right now, which is Unbound Chaos, it's just a straight AoE talent, but it's also very good in single target. We need legendaries that make our single target better, so when we do get into raid environments and when we do get into bosses, we aren't just meta bots. We aren't just pressing meta and then only doing damage in demonic cooldowns. We need something that will help us outside of those. And like, Burning Wounds is a great idea if it was just a dot. If it was a dot that did even like 50% of the damage of Demon's Bite every time that you press Demon's Bite over 15 seconds in chaos damage, it would be significantly better. And I don't want this to sound like a doomsday thing for Demon Hunter, but it's just incredibly frustrating for people to take extra time and delay an expansion just to come out with changes that are not statistically better than what you're removing it for. If you like the video, leave a like. If you didn't like the video, F5, refresh, try it again. Maybe you like the second time. Have a good one.